Today, we're going to talk about something that I've really been fascinated with, and that is how our retail Slow Flowers members are basically adding new product to their flower shops. And of course, a lot of flower shops have gifts, but I think there's something that this is like next level. We're going to talk about luxury items that are, really tailored to the taste and aesthetic of the customers who are shopping for local seasonal flowers. So I'm just going to go ahead and introduce the guests we have and tell you about them a little bit. They're all past members, or excuse me, all past guests of the Slow Flowers podcast. So I'll try to share that when we repost the video of this, because it'd be fun for you to go back and hear their whole story. But first of all, I'm going to introduce Susan Chambers. Susan is with bloominCouture in San Francisco. Hi, Susan. And then Kelly Marie Thompson owns Fleur Inc. in Chicago. Hi, Kelly Marie.
It's nice to see everybody.
It's great to see you. And Lauralee Symes is the owner of Sellwood Flower Company in Portland. Hi, Lauralee. Okay, and then welcome Heidi Joynt. How are you? Heidi and her partner, Molly Colbelt, are co-owners of Field and Florist in Chicago.
Thank you. Hi, good morning.
It's great to see everybody. So we're going to talk a little bit about retail floristry, and especially going deep into a kind of a companion product mix for your local flowers. So we're going to talk to Heidi and then Susan, and then Lauralee, and then Kelly Marie, and I will put the links to their websites in the chat for you. And please ask your questions as you have them. And Tonali and Nisha and I will try to field those to our guests. We're a little bit off today because our mastermind, Karen Thornton, is on vacation with her family. So we're just going to give ourselves grace here as we're trying to do all the technology. Okay, I think we're ready to start. And welcome to the Slow Flowers meetup for the month of April. And as you saw in the invitation, we're talking about luxury goods. So first, I want to start with Heidi Joynt. And Heidi, thank you so much for joining us today. You and I go way back.
10 years, I think.
Yes, I think we met in 2012, actually, at the ASCFG conference in Tacoma.
That's right.
Oh my gosh.
You're my Seattle connection.
Yes. It's so great to see you again.
You too.
Could you just tell everybody where you're at? You have 2 flower shops in Chicago, and describe your retail side of your business, and also how that fits with the growing side.
Yes. So I'm actually standing in our downtown location, our fragrance shop. We do fragrance and flowers here. We are actually open, so if customers come in, Molly's going to help them. But
gotta sell the flowers and the fragrance. Yeah.
So we have another location that's a little over 5 years old in Wicker Park. It's a high foot traffic kind of neighborhood. And we were approached February 2020 to open another location downtown in a really historic, beautiful building. And we wanted it to be different than our other retail location, to kind of create more interest and more opportunity to tie other things to flowers and other reasons for folks to visit both shops. So we thought fragrance, it's something we've always been interested in, but hadn't fully explored very deeply until, a few years prior. And it was a perfect opportunity to give it a try.
You had sold other goods besides your flowers that you grow. I remember you were selling like custom-made women's leather shoes or something really gorgeous in your other shop, right?
That was the first year. Yeah, we kind of just tried a few things to see what made sense, But yeah, we don't do that anymore, but focus more on home goods and other artisan objects. There was some custom ceramics and, glassware from Italy, really trying to, it's a small space. Both of our spaces are small. And so the way we think about it is utilizing this space as we have to, showcase things that are special and we think are really unique and that aren't often found in many other places. So we do look pretty hard and try to come up with things that are going to be interesting to our customers.
Well, tell me how you like initially thought about fragrance, because I see on your website the fragrances that you're carrying are not otherwise available in the Chicago market, as far as at least when you first brought them in. So how are you sourcing them, and where do you find them?
We work with a local fragrance artist who actually is a reviewer on the website for Grantica. So he's very knowledgeable in the world of niche perfume. And, niche to us, it really kind of just means that it doesn't maybe have like the widest audience. It's not being market tested, and it's really more artist driven. So it's an opportunity for small brands and independent perfumers to showcase their work as artists using fragrance as a medium to really communicate complex and beautiful ideas, transportive experiences through fragrance.
I wish we could smell them right now.
I know.
So do you have more than one? You sell and represent multiple artists. Are they under different labels or?
Yes.
Okay.
We probably have maybe 30 to 50, actually probably more different individual fragrances, but probably closer to 20 different brands represented.
Okay. And how are you selling them? Are they all botanically driven, or do they pair with the flowers, or is it just a category of beautiful fragrance?
Yeah, they're more in that category. They're really, not necessarily botanically driven, although some really are. Some are, we have one line from Japan called Dessert, and they're the only like all natural fragrance, which is just kind of, they're using natural distillation, and they're also growing their own materials, which is really hard to do and quite a feat. But the rest are not in that category, but have really, interesting conceptual stories behind them.
Yeah.
And those are a lot of fun to share with our customers. We try to have it be more relational rather than transactional when we are selling fragrance, because I think that people can sometimes feel a little nervous coming into like a boutique and it's like too fancy for them or something. But we really try to dispel that and make people feel comfortable and bring them into the stories and focus on sharing those with them, because it really is more about making connections. And I think we are in such desperate need of that, in the retail world. I didn't really start a store to sell stuff, it was about the love for flowers and growing, and using that kind of as the litmus test for how we are bringing in other products has really kept it interesting for me.
So give us some of the stories. I see some packages on the shelves behind you. Do you want to introduce us to a few of these lines, and like how would you interact with a customer? Do people come in seeking fragrance, or do they happen to come in for flowers and then they discover the fragrance?
It's a bit of everything, because this shop has only been open for about a year and a half. We had to shut things down during the pandemic and everyone was working from home, and we're in such a like downtown area. It didn't make sense to be open yet. But I think some people come in for this place as a fragrance destination, because there's not a ton of places to, really experience niche fragrance. But some people are just walking by and happen to notice flowers through the window, and then we kind of show them this other world, and they end up staying for an hour, and we get to know all about them and their family and how this scent reminds them of their grandma or whatever.
I love it.
It's fun. But you asked about some stories.
Yeah.
This is a brand called Folie à Plusset, and this is called Lake Bottom. I love this one because being in Chicago, we're right on Lake Michigan, and so many of us have these experiences with the lake and hanging out all summer by the lake. So this has notes of sediment. It evokes the feeling of jumping into a freshwater lake and drying off on a hot rock while the water beads off your skin.
I love it.
So we've all been there, and it's fun to kind of share that feeling with people and kind of the scent of that.
It's like poetry, the way you describe it. Do you have to I don't know, do you get some of this narrative from the artists, or are you and Molly kind of responding just to the sensory experience of smelling that fragrance yourselves?
We get some of it from the artist.
Uh-huh.
We also create these little half sheet one pagers that we pull out with every fragrance we pull. So that we can talk about the notes, but also like the nose or the creator behind it and the brand, and tell them where they're from, and make it a little less mysterious. And you can also learn a lot about it and learn about the notes that you like. So you can feel more educated about scent and less like it's a unapproachable, item that's kind of out of your league or something,
Well, I love the way you describe them as niche fragrances, because I think anyone here who has bought a copy of Vogue or Vanity Fair, like there's huge full page glossy ads about fragrances, and they're just so heavily branded, usually have an association with a celebrity. And like, I don't think they really talk about the actual scent itself. Usually it's just all this branding. And so you're like the antidote to that, and just trying to make it highly personal. And the people who buy from you probably love niche fragrances because they're uncommon, the same way they love local flowers because they're not just showing up at the grocery store all the time. I mean, it's an interesting concept to understand your customer, and it is the same type of person, isn't it?
Often, yeah. They're really interested in the ephemeral, the poetry that goes along with the communication of flowers. We're transmitting messages through the means of creating floral for folks. And then it's a similar sort of ephemerality with fragrance. You wear it and it fades, and it's transportive. It can take you somewhere and make you feel a certain way. I think it really does have the power to change a point of view or a feeling or your mood.
Oh my gosh.
Flowers can do the same, it's been a really fun way to understand more about how they fit together, because I don't think I made all those parallels initially.
Yeah, Heidi, just listening to you makes me think of, the Victorians and how, there was this practice. I could be completely saying this wrong, but I know that Teresa Rao is on this call, so she can tell me if I'm wrong, but holding the posy and, smelling it, maybe because the smells of the streets weren't that pleasant, or using the posy to convey a language of flowers. And I feel like the fragrance is sort of that's the same experience, but on your body.
Totally. And they were hiding BO in those days too. Like, but it's funny because some of the fragrances here, they have these animalic notes, and this funky, there's some barnyard qualities. We have one that has equestrian notes with a dung note in it.
Oh my goodness.
But there's these, throughout history, like they've used these things to pair with flowers to kind of give it that je ne sais quoi and take it to this beautiful place. Whereas otherwise it would be really one noted, and there, you can't just like flat jasmine or flat tuberose, isn't as special if it's not paired with, more things and creating a more complex experience. So it's really fun to, be challenged also by fragrance. Some may not be for me, but it's interesting to understand the world of the creators, and also it appeals to a lot of other people too.
Yeah. And the way you're listening to you, it sounds like the way you would describe a wine blend, that you're getting this depth that maybe a single variety wouldn't have. It would just be overpowering, or I don't know, some kind of connotation. What fragrance do you wear, Heidi?
People ask me that often. I don't wear anything when I work here because I smell and spray things all the time for customers. But in my spare time, depends on the mood. I really like, it's called Portrait of a Lady by Frederick Malle. It's a beautiful rose paired with some woody notes. It's kind of an iconic one in niche fragrance world. It's much more floral than I thought I would wear, but I think floral in the right hands can be really, really exquisite.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And just out of curiosity, because we're going to move on to our next presenter, just any tips that you would have for anybody who wants to get into offering fragrances as a product category? Like, where did you start? You said you worked with, is it a consultant or somebody who helped you?
Yeah, because that's not my expertise. And I didn't know a lot about it. And it's, I was more comfortable trusting someone who spent a lot of their time working with that and knew a lot more. So our buyer works with him, and together they select the brands that we carry, and then we tell their stories.
Wow. Wow. And what are the price points? Just to kind of give us a sense of, I'm thinking about the accessible and the unattainable, and you're somewhere in that range probably.
Yeah, exactly. We opened the shop carrying, it's a company called Nez. It's a French brand. They have publications as well. They had like really interesting, like $35, like little roll-ons that some of them were like jumping into a pile of wet leaves.
That's crazy.
Things like that. They came with little zines. Those are cool. We have some that are 75. I would say the average is about 150 to 25. Then we have some that are a few, in the 250 range. We have a rare oud from Japan that's 480. That's the highest price point. But
wow.
We haven't sold that one yet. So we're not trying to, go further into that kind of rare level. But
when you say oud, is that the name of it, or
oud is just like a resin, so a tree resin. So this happens to be a sustainably harvested and naturally harvested ancient tree. It was like 800-year-old tree in Japan that the oud came from.
Oh yeah, you have to have that.
So when it fell, then perfumers get involved.
So there's a limited edition of it. Wow, that is so much fun. Oh, thank you so much, Heidi, for sharing. I know we might have time for questions on the end. If you have to jump off because of customers, go for it. But thank you so much. I'm really inspired, and I don't even wear fragrance anymore because I don't know how to find it. So do you also do mail order?
We do. We ship to the lower 48.
Okay, I think I need to book a consult with you so you can help me figure out what my scent is.
That would be fun.
It would be fun. Great. Okay, we're going to jump to Susan and ask Susan Chambers to come on the screen. Let me see if I can get her up here.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi, there we go. Can you all see Susan Chambers? Susan was actually just on the podcast a couple months ago, so some of you might recognize her story and her face and your shop, because I think you were in the exact same spot when I interviewed you, Susan.
With similar colored, nice spring florals. Yeah.
I'm going to put your website here in the chat. Well, what inspired me to ask you to talk today is you mentioned on the podcast that you were developing a luxury candle line for your studio. Like, you really don't maintain retail hours, but you have a retail business. So I'm going to pop your PowerPoint up on the screen, and maybe you can talk a little bit about how you have come to adding the candle line and how you hope to market it too.
Exactly. And so my background is high fashion and luxury retail. So as much as I said, I didn't want to go back into the retail business. It is in my blood, and I can't stop myself from getting sucked back in. We cater to kind of the upper echelon of the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area. The arrangement I'm holding is probably about $650 price point. So that's a pretty common price point that we're sending out on a regular basis. I'm able to, at that point, really capture a luxury clientele that is just dreamy to work with. When I worked in high fashion, I saw fashion so much as about putting luxury in. It wasn't just about that you were wearing a designer brand, but that how good you felt when you put on that designer jacket, how good it felt because it was tailored so beautifully. It was cut so well, right? You felt good in it. It transformed you. I saw with luxury flowers, this transformative power of bringing beauty into the home, that it's not always about gifting out, but about gifting in. I saw that same connection then with bringing more into the home, especially right post-pandemic, of like, we're wanting to be home more. We're entertaining at home. We're bringing luxury into the home, that so many of our clients weren't just sending flowers out, but were sending subscriptions to themselves. of
Well,
our
you
flowers.
said, yeah, you've described that as like like residential floral consulting, or so, there's a term that you
Exactly,
use.
that we do whole home florals for
Yeah.
our lead customers, where it's literally a white glove service. We could go in with our gloves on and remove and maintain and read, we have duplicate vases so that it always looks effortless and the same and seamless, right? That this is this, why aren't we, I love the idea of putting luxury into ourselves, into our homes, enriching ourselves. And I resonated so much about what Heidi was saying about perfume, that I look back at like my early childhood memories, and it's intrinsically woven with scent, right? Color and scent. I grew up in what is now Silicon Valley, but in those days it was all orchards. So my childhood memories are citrus at Christmas, it's juicy cherries, it's soil, and wanting to bring a really luxury brand as like our first step away, first foray away from flowers, that we would do candles, and working with a really small bespoke company outside of London to source beautiful, hand poured natural soy, no palm oil, no phosphates, no petroleum, no phthalate, right? Like lead free. The cotton wick is from England. Everything is beautifully done. They've created the black vessels for bloominCouture.
Do you want me to forward on this?
Yeah.
And Susan, just listening to you describe the like all the non-toxic benefits, it sounds like perfectly suited to somebody who's branded herself as a sustainable floral designer. Like it's on brand for you.
Totally. And everything I do is kind of like, my background is black and white, right? The studio's black and white, our aprons are black and white. The candles are black and white. I want kind of the flowers to shine as the color. I want everything else to kind of be in the background, evoking this emotion of kind of putting luxury in.
So is this the label that you're designing here for your candles?
Exactly.
It's the label you're designing.
It's like our insert that will go inside, kind of explaining about bloominCouture. Like I realized it's all of a sudden it's going out to a wider audience. It's not just people in the Russian Hill neighborhood, or Palo Alto or Marin. It could be people across the country getting our bloominCouture candles and wanting to explain and realizing I need to, which I've never really taken the time to do, that bloomin' is an expletive. And, I always thought that people in fashion and flowers took themselves a little too seriously. So that I want to have fun, right? I want to like fill our souls with beauty. I want us to live in that and invite people to kind of bring that feeling in, to evoke the emotion that I'm, allow yourself to light that spark. Is literal, but it's also figurative, and that we can kind of light our creative spark and give ourselves permission to kind of nurture ourselves, right, with beauty.
So this is the company you're working with.
Yeah, I'm just thrilled. It's a dreamy young or small family run candle company in England. It's been about an 8-month process of creating the scent profiles. Really, when I looked at my own work, there's a lot of texture, there's a lot of depth, and I wanted that to be in the candles as well. So the scent profiles are really layered. The names are Luxe, Signature, Atelier, and Maison. Maison is our holiday one, but it's citrus, because California holiday for me is orange, right? So it's orange and cinnamon and brown sugar, and it's kind of like mulled wine of the holidays, right? And our Luxe is punchy and deep and warm, but it also has like notes of rose and peony, but it also has clove and nutty amber. Like I really wanted it to be gender neutral. I just wanted beautiful, clean scents that had some depth, but didn't feel heavy. Like it's a tricky balance, right? That I
Mhm.
didn't want these high floral notes without the grounding. And I feel like so much of my floral work, I always have really light colors, but I also have really dark, kind of moody textures as well. And I wanted, how do you create a scent profile that kind of matches visually what I'm creating in the studio? And I feel like we've done that. We are using oud, which is like the most expensive ingredient in the world. It's
Well,
insane.
now we all know what oud is, thanks to you and
Oh,
Heidi.
it is so like smoky. You think of like what's in like incense in like the Middle East has that kind of like smokiness, but you just need like a tip of it, you know, like just a little drop against the rose to like really kind of balance it. But then we're using like saffron and pear and orange blossom and patchouli, and you know, like there's so many layers in all of I'm really excited. It's just I'm beyond I can really see how we'll kind of evolve from candles to additional pieces for the home.
So when do you hope to debut the line? Because I know it's been in development and you're almost there.
Yes, so we're really hoping that they arrive in time for Mother's Day.
Okay.
So,
And
in the
so
next
do you
few
intend
weeks.
on selling them and like in a package or?
Well, we're really, it's a, a good price and not inexpensive price point to match the bloominCouture customer. And so I'm really seeing that it can be an add-on, especially at the holidays. We do a lot of corporate gifting, coming up with bouquets and florals to match the scents and coordinate with them so that it can be an add-on, especially here in our neighborhood, that it can be a hostess gift that we can have messengered over, a thank you gift that can be messengered right here in San Francisco, as well as then extending the product line.
So smart. And your home services that you're already providing for customers, now they're going to just add like the candle will be a line item with the flowers. So
Right, exactly. Well, and it's such a perfect, like we do so much entertaining of going into clients' homes and teaching tablescaping, right? That we can be bringing in how to use candles and what I love is taking the old candle vessel and reusing that as a container for florals, right? I just did a whole workshop on found containers, and I love using the old vessels from our candles, right? That
so smart.
Collected and kept over the years and have makeup brushes and pencils, right? And how that it's really kind of playing with it and having fun with it. Again, it's about inviting like a playfulness and a fun into with luxury.
If you wanted to encourage anybody on like how to get into this sort of custom candle business, because I know there's a lot of candle lines that people can see at gift shows or even on Fair, or I'm guessing Etsy. Like there's a lot of these small artisan candle lines. You kind of had to do some research before to get to this level.
Yeah. And I'm really careful with who I partner with, even client wise, right? That I'm really careful with who my brand is associated with, what luxury brands I'm providing florals for, as well as what homes, restaurants, you know, I'm really protective of what we're doing and making sure we're not overextending.
Yeah.
And with that, like when I was looking to partner with a candle company, I did a lot of research about who could create, and when you're doing private label, it's also called white label.
Okay.
And so doing research on who provided a really high level white label service that we could tailor to what we needed and work with to create bespoke scents.
Okay.
A lot of people will create a line that they've already created the scents for, and they might be kind of one note scents that are just simple and fast. If you're doing a gift store, I want to compete with the high-end brands, right? I want these bloominCouture candles to be as luxurious as our arrangements.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Okay. We'll keep an eye on your website for the announcement or on your Instagram, which I'm
Yes.
sure you're going to be debuting it. And what is you said one is very holiday, but do you have a specific one for Mother's Day or for spring?
It was so interesting because the one I thought was the most floral, it turns out my son and his friends all said was their favorite. So that's Lux, and it's kind of a rose and peony, but it has clove and nutty ambers, a little bit of vanilla, and a little dash of smoky oud.
Okay.
So,
Well, like you said, it's not gender specific.
I love that. Like, I'm really thrilled. Yeah.
Oh, love it. Okay. Thank you so much, Susan. We're going to invite Lauralee Symes to join us now. And please add questions if anyone has them in the chat for Heidi or Susan. And I'm going to welcome Lauralee Symes. Hi, Lauralee.
Hello, Deborah. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Tell everyone where your retail store is and a little bit about Sellwood Flower Company, because you're full service for sure. You seem to have everything great in your shop.
Oh, well, thank you. Our shop, Sellwood Flower Company, is located in Sellwood, Oregon, and that's Sell. Sometimes people think I'm saying Joywood, but it's Sellwood, and it's just a little village outside of downtown Portland, kind of a walking district. We started out being very focused on like French style arrangements. By that, I really wanted to just be different and not do the some of the companies that we all know, and maybe I didn't want like roundy moundy. I wanted organic, local flowers that was artistic and specialized and very custom to our customers. So we started in 2015. We have a team of about 12 people right now. Our major focus is daily deliveries, and adding some luck to the daily delivery theme.
You have black and white ribbon too. I was thinking you and Susan could start the French influence club.
Yes, yeah.
But
Yeah,
you use
I love that
your ribbons are striped, right? We'll see them in
They
the
are.
screen.
Yes.
So
yeah.
the reason I wanted to invite Lauralee is, first of all, she has a really loyal neighborhood and greater Portland customer base. People trust you. They're going for designer's choice in the arrangements because they want seasonal, and you're telling them you have the best of the season. They don't have to be so specific. Isn't that sort of the average order is kind of designer's choice? I know some are specific, but
honestly, every arrangement on our website is designer's choice. We say that it will resemble the picture, but it happens to do with what is available. I would say at 98% of the florals that we use in our arrangements that go out every day are local and delivered by local farmers and growers. Now, of course, in December and January, that gets a little bit challenging, and sometimes even November, but we work around it. We try, and sometimes we say California is local.
yeah.
And I really don't mind selling California tulips all day long if I have to.
Absolutely.
But I think the focus on US grown if we need to. So most of our arrangements really are a resemblance of what you might see on the website based on what's available. And also, honestly, the designer's mood that day.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're ultra creative and they want, this really artistic look. Sometimes they're a little bit more, they're holding back a little bit, and you see that play out in the arrangements.
Well, that's, as an owner, I think that's a gift that you give to your designers who work for you, that you don't have to micromanage them. You let them have a little creative freedom.
They don't leave. I mean, they love their job. They get that, I think.
So tell me how this wine offering came about, because, and you're going to pop up the wine gift page on your website to share.
Yes. Yeah. I think I'll go ahead and share my screen in just a minute, but I will say that I started thinking about the idea of doing wine with flowers early on. We opened in 2015. So around 16, 17, I started toying with the idea. We would always pour a little bit of wine into a glass for customers to sip while they were shopping or waiting for us to make something for them. And that really grew into being more interested in pairing flowers with wine and maybe chocolate. And when the pandemic hit, the governor shut down all florists in Oregon because they were not, I mean, a lot of businesses, right? But if you were not an essential business providing food, for instance, you could not be open. So we shut down for one day. Actually, I think it was about 12 hours. And I laid everyone in the shop off. I called my manager. We talked, okay, well, we'll still have to do something to keep going. Let's you and I try to do what we can. And we got so many orders that had wine. We had one wine offering on our website. We got so many orders that first day. We brought every single team member back because she and I were just blown away because people couldn't get wine and they really needed wine, apparently.
I remember that. I remember we did a story about getting through the pandemic, and you let people like come in one person per shift to work in the studio, but other people were working at home. Was that how you did it?
Yeah, we would get the farmers to drop off because all the growers had so much product. They would drop the product off at our gate. They would not come in. The one person that was working at the shop that day would process and divide up, and designers would drive in, pick up a kit, and then work on making arrangements. 2 people every day would answer phones and take orders via phone.
Oh, it's crazy.
But the key became we had to sell food and wine in order to stay open. And so I started bagging nuts from Costco. I mean, just because I needed some more food. And I thought, well, chocolate and nuts go together. I got more chocolate offerings, and then just definitely increased the wine. Well, that really took off. People love the pairings. And I'll share my screen now.
Yeah.
And I can show you a few examples.
Yeah. Obviously the ability to sell wine is different state by state. So did you have to get a special wine seller's license to do this?
Yes, that's a good question. In Oregon, we have to have a special permit or license. There's 2 different licenses involved. There's one called on premise, where you're serving wine by the glass. And then there's off premise, which means we can sell containers to go. And so that's how we're able to get around selling wine, both in the shop and for delivery, is we have that license. I mean, it's not that much. I think that for florists that are interested in getting into this, I think the one thing I would say to note is you need a special insurance in most states just to increase liability in case someone were to open the bottle on their way out, drink it, get drunk, and then fall down. You want to have extra liability for that. And then secondly, you want to make sure that your designers and employees are trained in who to sell to, how to check for their age and their ID, and also make sure that your delivery company or delivery people know to not just leave a bottle of wine at a doorstep, obviously. So you have to have some protocols around that.
You have to hand it to the receiver.
Too challenging.
Yeah, you have to hand it to the recipient.
You have to hand it to somebody over 21 in Oregon. So yeah, you can't hand it to the 12-year-old.
So are you specializing just in Oregon wines?
We really, we used to have a mix, and sometimes we'll bring in a specialty French wine. If I or my husband find one that we really love, we'll bring it into the shop and share it. But right now, our primary focus is Oregon on all of our products, actually. So the first one here, you can see this is the look, smell, taste, sip, and repeat. This is our most popular product by far. And let's see, this was number 6 in sales of everything in our shop for all of first quarter. Wow. And so that's thousands of dollars in revenue. It's a really sweet package. I think the name might be good too. People just like that name. Sip, smell, taste, sip, enjoy, repeat. And that's the idea behind our gift kits, is that they're interactive. They offer something for everybody. They're good for all age groups, male, female, any occasion. This is really great for birthdays, anniversaries, congratulations, new baby. I mean, who doesn't need the wine when you got the new baby, right? So, and and the chocolate. So this by far is our most favorite
Wow.
and best seller. A couple others, just so you can see some of the variety. This is Rosé and Roses. We pair a candle with it in case somebody prefers that. We have this little bird. It's sort of a theme in our shop. We have a parakeet named Alouette, and she's got a huge fan club in the Portland area. People come just to visit the bird. And so we have a lot of put a bird on it, I think is a Portland thing. I don't know where that came from.
If anyone watches
put a bird on it.
If you watch Portlandia, you remember that episode.
That's right. This one, the Grand Rosé and Roses, is a really high-end bottle of wine. So you can see that's a $255 price point. The Tea Lover has been very popular for customers. Like this, we'll sell a lot of this for Mother's Day. This tea maker is a Portland company. The founder is a very good friend of mine. So it's been fun to like figure out what kind of teas to have on our gift kit. And then here's one where it's Blue Bayou and Pinot Noir. So this is one of the packages that we developed exclusively during the pandemic. The dark chocolate Pinot Noir is very famous in Oregon. The bagged nuts, which sell for $7. I mean, everybody buys these nuts like they're going out of style. So it's kind of funny. I think this would be good if you have you want to send somebody a gift that just had a baby boy, but this is also very popular to be sent to men. And then we feature the blue flowers. This is a staycation spa. Again, this one was developed during the pandemic. This is all Kai fragrance product. We sell a lot of those. This is again a high-end 265 and paired with flowers. So the cool thing about these gifts, Deborah, is when the flowers fade away, the recipient still has something to remember the gift by.
Wow.
So
Wow. I love it.
That's it.
And tell us about your candle business. Are you sourcing from a variety of makers, or how did you find your candle line?
Good question. This is I'll click on this one so that you can see. This is our most popular. It's a Marie Louise brand. It's a French brand, and this particular fragrance is a Cassis. It's Cassis. We sell cases of these every quarter. It's super popular. It's got many layers of notes of fragrance as the candle is burning. The first scent that you're going to get might be a rose, and the second scent might be like on the Cassis, I think it's like a vanilla. It's just got so much depth, but it's also a really clean fragrance. So we sell a lot of these. We've had other candle brands in the past because there's some local candle makers in Portland that we've tried out. At the end of the day, this Marie Louise is our number one seller. So we really stick with that.
It's on brand for you too, with the French influence as well. That's amazing. So you're going to the idea of pairing wine with flowers is age old. A lot of flower shops don't do it because there is a risk and just an extra headache probably to stocking wine. But how it sounds like it's a huge part of your business now. If that number 6 bestseller is one of your wine packages, that's amazing.
Yeah, I encourage anybody to try it. I think that other states might even have easier access to be able to sell wine. It hasn't been a problem at all for our delivery crew. They're able to get around. We always call the customer before we leave, the recipient, saying we're coming. We need to make sure someone over the age of 21 is present to accept this package. So
that's a really good
point. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, a little side note, it's a huge bonus for your crew as well, because anytime, like on Easter, I can call up and say, hey, everybody, open up a couple bottles of wine at the end of the day and let's have a little party. So it really, I think the crew likes selling it as well, because they get to taste it and enjoy it and then share that passion with the customers.
Oh, thank you, Lauralee. That's wonderful. Okay, let's move on to our final expert here. And that was a lot of fun, Lauralee. Thank you so much. And I want to invite
Welcome.
Kelly Marie Thompson to join us. Hi, Kelly Marie.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry you had to wait to the end, but we're saving the fine jewelry till the very end. When I had you on the podcast and you talked about your retail store, also in Chicago, Fleur Inc., you talked about having a longtime goal of adding like diamond engagement rings or fine jewelry because you're a full service wedding designer. Am I describing that correctly?
Yep, exactly. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Well, tell us how did Fleur Inc. evolve into that? And aren't you celebrating an anniversary this year?
Yeah, last week was our 21st anniversary. So
Oh my
it's
goodness.
kind of wild.
Talk about staying power.
Yeah, I guess I need to call and order some wine. We're old enough.
Yes, exactly. There you go. Well, you must have, I know you were very young when you started. So congratulations for that staying power. So when did you add, I mean, obviously you have other gift items in the retail store, right?
Yeah, so we have just under 2,000 square foot retail space. So it's, it's more of a lifestyle boutique than just flowers. It has a little bit of everything. And then we have our special event design studio separate. And I think everyone can agree that at a certain point when you're a small business owner, you reach you hit a wall of lack of inspiration and trying to kind of figure things out. And I was going through that when we decided to sort of bring fine jewelry in. I was thinking about, I wanted to have another revenue source. I always think that's a recommendation I have for any small business owners, have multiple streams of revenue, but I didn't want to just buy product and sell it. I wanted it to have some sort of impact for me because, I'm not a small business owner just to make money. I do it because it's a passion.
Mm-hmm.
And we have such wonderful customers. We've been in the neighborhood for so long that I started looking at sort of their needs and realizing that we have people coming in and buying flowers on their very first dates, all different kinds of celebrations, and that sort of, beginning stages of a relationship really stuck out to me. And I thought it would be really lovely if one day we could ever have that couple that, they bought their flowers from us, they got engaged, they bought their ring from us, and we did their wedding.
Oh my gosh.
That's happened now since. It's
Oh
just
my gosh.
A really beautiful personal addition to the business that kind of re-inspired my love for the company as well.
So talk about the buying of expensive jewelry. Like is it on consignment or how do you present it in the store?
Yeah, it was a scary step to make because the costs involved are definitely higher than I think any small business wants to invest in. At least I did. And so we started off with consignment, and I specifically at the time reached out to some of our local customers who I knew were jewelry makers. And we kind of, treaded the waters that way, seeing what worked, what didn't. And I sent out a lot of surveys kind of asking people what it was that they were looking for, what were the price points they were thinking about in our newsletters. So compiling all of that information really helped us kind of fine tune the styles that were important. And then we paired that with making sure that, the jewelers that we did end up purchasing from, they were all ethically sourced, fair trade gold, all of that. That was incredibly important to us as well.
Oh, that's interesting. That's really fits your philosophy of sourcing locally as well. Do you hold a lot of inventory or do you have just samples of the styles? I don't know if you have anything you can show us today, but
I unfortunately didn't. I'm working from home today. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I put your website up so people can check that out.
Yeah. We brought the fine jewelry in 2018 and it really took off. And of course, once the pandemic hit, that was kind of a large pause. And so in the last probably 6 months, we've slowly been reintroducing pieces back in. We tend to buy, on hand, we usually have about 20 special engagement rings on hand that are one of a kind. We can size them. And then we have a few lines that we carry that the jewelers can just, we can order a different size in them at any point. So that way there's that one of a kind feel, but there's also the versatility if somebody just wants something. What's been very cool about it is, and this is something I hadn't anticipated in addition to being part of our clients' stories from start to finish, it's actually brought back repeat customers, which I feel like in weddings you don't really see unless it's a referral. You really hope you're not doing too many repeat wedding customers. That's a different story.
Yeah.
But engagements, anniversaries, we've had people come back to buy rings. New mothers, we've had people come back to buy rings for that. So that's also really transcended kind of what we originally thought with the jewelry as well.
Yeah. And I can see where because you do design full service weddings, people, I mean, either the wedding client already has purchased engagement rings, hopefully from you, or, and then they discover, oh yes, we can hire Fleur to do our flowers, or the other way around. The flowers come first and then the engagement ring. It's like a great cross marketing opportunity.
It's a lot of fun. It feels very special. I'm really glad that we made this step, even though it took some calculations and it was scary.
Mm-hmm. Well, when you did the surveys, that's actually really smart. You were surveying people on your mailing list about would they be interested in fine jewelry.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
And were they giving you indications on like style or price point, or this like ethically sourced gemstones and the gold, or how did you kind of land on that mix?
I sent out, I think, 3 surveys, and each one really focused on style. One was style, one was price points, and one was what type of stones that people wanted. We always expressed that we want it to be, fair trade and ethically sourced. That was just not negotiable. And that gave us some really great feedback. There were, the price points were actually a little higher than I had expected that people were willing to spend. So that was great. And it also was really nice to just kind of start off with a collection that we knew was going to be received well from the beginning,
because it kind of hit that sweet spot.
Exactly.
So something you said made me think that maybe it's not just the kind of the first thought that comes to mind is the diamond engagement ring. You're mixing it up and showcasing other gemstones. Is that what's part of your collection?
Exactly. Yeah. Our number one seller is actually black diamonds, which was a bit of a surprise for me. They're beautiful, the ones that we bring in. And then after that are sapphires. Sapphires are our most popular for engagement rings, which is just kind of fun that people are thinking outside the box a little bit as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a little bit more fashion forward probably than something you get at the shopping mall or, kind of a jewelry store. You're not a jewelry store. You said you're a lifestyle store.
We're a lifestyle boutique, and we have a case of jewelry.
What other products do you have mixed in your retail space? I haven't been to your shop, but I hope to come sometime.
Yeah. So originally when I opened, my sort of overall concept was really gatherings in general. So no matter, a large celebration or just having people over for dinner. So we carry a lot of items for entertaining, a lot of really beautiful serving pieces, handmade pieces, and again, that we really try to keep the price points kind of broad. So, it could be something like a simple little cutting board, a marble cutting board, or it could be a gorgeous handmade piece of pottery that you want to serve. We also have a bunch of candle lines. I was excited to hear about them today. We have lots and lots of plants. I sometimes joke with my team that when I go on buying trips, I have an identity crisis because we do have all of these sort of little different departments that we carry.
Oh, I thought you were going to say you have all these different avatars of your customers who you're trying to
that too.
You sound like you really know who your customer is. You have long time regular customers.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, before I let you go, Kelly, I do want to just ask you about your business coaching, because you coach other retail florists, other florists. Maybe it's not specifically retail. How have you built that side of your business?
Yeah, I absolutely love. I think that was another thing where I was really struggling with finding some passion again after 21 years. And I wanted to, I learned so many ways of doing business the wrong way. And so I wanted to offer anything and any advice that I could give after, to other people so they don't make the same mistakes. So yeah, I do one-on-one coaching. A lot of times it's looking at QuickBooks and just really helping people understand how to look at their numbers. A lot of times we're building standard operating procedures, just really getting systems in place for your staff so that they understand, accountability, things like that. And then sometimes people are just bouncing ideas off of, what is growth? Growth doesn't necessarily mean I'm expanding, I'm getting larger. It means your profitability is getting better. So we really talk through, ways that people can kind of reanalyze how they're running their business.
Great. Well, I put your website up in the chat. So if anyone's interested in talking with Kelly Marie further, reach out to her. And I know you've got a coaching or consulting tab on your website, so it's all spelled out there. Let's bring back all of our presenters onto the screen and thank everybody for being part of this fabulous. Oh my gosh, I'm so inspired. This fabulous group of creatives who are doing kind of flowers plus, flowers and beyond. And it's all evocative, and it all really just seems like a great fit. So thank you, ladies, so much. It makes me want to gather photos from all of you and write a story for Slow Flowers Journal about luxury goods with flowers. Any final thoughts any of you want to add?
Well, and I just love how we've all found this path and we've all connected through you. Like, I've met the most extraordinary women through this work with Slow Flowers. And thank you so much, Deborah, for creating this format for all of us to share.
Oh, thank you, Susan. Back at you all. And retail is not for everyone. And some people do it in different ways, as Susan's kind of like slowly inching toward retail. She's resisting it. And then, Heidi has 2 stores, and I don't know how that's insanity, right? So
yes, it is.
Yeah. And Kelly's lasted 21 years, and Lauralee has got it good. She lives on a houseboat and walks to her shop, so we don't hate her too much. It's a pretty sweet situation. But you've all created the business to fit your lifestyle. And I think that's what's most inspiring. So we'll share the replay video of this for those who signed up and missed it. We had a wonderful group today. And I will announce that next month, because of Mother's Day, we're moving our meetup to the Friday after Mother's Day. So we'll meet on Friday, May, I think it's the 19th. Let me double check. Yes, Friday, May the 19th. And we have a confirmation that Amy Balsters of the Floral Coach is going to come in and share with us. And she's one of our keynote speakers for the Slow Flower Summit in June. So she's going to give a little sneak peek about that and answer questions about making the perfect bouquet. So we might have another one of our summit speakers join her. So we'll look for that announcement. And I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I know I'm going to go plant my sweet peas. I said I was going to do it yesterday, but I'm going to do it today. So thank you all.